Hello there, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome to another walk with Garrett. Today, we are very fortunate to be at the East Quabbin Land Trust's Mass Central Rail Trail property. So you can see that we are starting right over here at the kiosk, just across the road from the parking area where we parked and crossed over that crosswalk onto this white rock path. And as you can see, we're going to start heading down the pathway. We got a little water station to collect some rainwater. And we can already start to see some interesting grapevines and different ground cover plants. We got a little plaque here on the way in talking about accessible recreation and non-motorized transportation corridors. So talking about how we're standing on the former Mass Central Railroad that once connected Northampton to Boston, spanning 104 miles. The Mass Central Railroad was built between 1871 and 1887 to ship commodities between the Commonwealth's agricultural heartland and urban areas to the east. It was also a commuter line. So commodities means that it was shipping goods, so things that you would buy, like food in this case, and commuter means that it carried people as well. From these ruined tracks, the idea for a rail trail emerged to provide visitors a safe, off-road trail to walk, wheel, and wander. The Commonwealth, towns and organizations like the East Quabbin Land Trust and Wachusett Greenways are increasing open miles of Mass Central Rail Trail. So, this is an awesome little sign telling us about how the East Quabbin Land Trust has put in a lot of work in this area that was once a railroad to create this interesting nature preserve for us. We're gonna keep on walking down the pathway here. We can see we have some different kind of markers on this trail than we have on a lot of the East Quabbin Land Trust properties, but those are some trail markers for this area. If you look off to our left, you can see all of those tall dead trees. Now those trees are actually great for birds. So if you ever come here, make sure that you take a look up and look at all of these trees lining the pathway, because you can often find some birds in them. We've got a lot of very thick vegetation off to our left and right, off to the left and right of this beautiful trail. Looks like this is some newer trees, and off to our left look to be some older pines. There's some grapevines off to our right. Lots of beautiful yellow flowers going on this trail. Looks like we got some maples growing up, just starting to sprout off to our left as well. And once you even get just this far down the trail, all of that car noise starts to fade away, and you really get to start to hear these birds. Got another beautiful pine throwing some shade for us. You can always appreciate some shade. And if we look to our left, we can see a nice little flower bed and another one of the plaques. And if we look out into the distance, I think this is where we just start to get our first glimpses of the river down there. But in the immediate foreground, we've got this lovely little flower bed planted. Let's see what we got going on here. Planting natives for pollinators. Ah, nectar and pollen from native plants is important for pollinators. New England's pollinators include butterflies, moths, bees, hummingbirds, and other insects. And then they have a little bit, why are pollinators important? Pollinators are needed for the production of 90% of the world's flowering plants. And in the United States, a third of all agricultural output depends on pollinators. Why are pollinators declining? Pollinators are declining due to increased pesticide use, habitat destruction, climate change, and non-native invasive plants. And they also have a helpful list of some native plants that help pollinators. We have the black-eyed Susans in the upper left, this butterfly weed, blazing star, and mealy blue sage. So it looks like this is one of the East Quabbin Land Trust's pollinator gardens, just like we made in our backyard to attract pollinators. They have a few more flowers, and if you look closely, I can actually see a little butterfly right there, a little yellow butterfly right on those flowers. So it looks like this garden is doing a great job. But we're gonna keep on walking down the trail. I can really start to hear some of these birds calling now. And if you do ever want to see birds on this property, I would highly recommend coming in the morning for a walk. You can hear something calling out from that tree, but I don't know what it is exactly. Not able to see it. Lots of those birds are pretty sneaky. They're able to jump to the opposite side of the tree before you even notice that they're there. But all of these trees up here onto our left are going to be prime bird trees. So you'll definitely want to take a look at those. Looks like we got a little trail going off to our right there. We're not going to take that right now. We are actually going to keep coming right up here to this fork in the trail. And we are going to take this opportunity to begin going down this left trail here. Now we can see one of those blue diamond trail markers that we know so well, as well as another small pollinator garden off to our right. Looks like they got some black-eyed Susans in this one. It's looking good. We get to see some plants growing on the edges of the trail here, as well as some nice little flowers growing and some pine trees. And as we walk down and around this way, we are going to get a nice view of the river off to our left. Get our first really good view of the river here as we make our way down and around these pine trees through this sort of grassland almost area, making sure to keep our eyes on the trees for some birds. We'll come down here to a nice little seating area that the East Quabbin Land Trust has set up, and to another one of these signs. So this one is all about some of the trees that we see in front of us. Pitcher pines, or pitch pine trees. So pitch pines are trees that tend to grow in soil where other species usually don't grow well, such as sandy soils, or soils with low nutrients. The Frollo Farm is located in the center of a glacier outwash plain that spanned sections of Ware, Palmer, and Hardwick, leaving large areas of sandy deposits excellent for pitch pines. Pitch pines provide habitat, or a home, and food for many animals. Birds such as pine warblers, wild turkeys, blue jays, and black-capped chickadees eat the seeds. Deer eat the seedlings and new sprouts. A wide variety of moth and butterfly larvae feed on pitch pine. And Native Americans have used the pitch for medicinal purposes. The wood could also be ideal for carving canoes or carving other things. Let's see, they have also adapted to living into fire-prone areas. They have thick, large plates of bark that help them survive fires. The thick bark protects the tree's living cells, known as the cambium layer, that is a thin layer underneath the bark. The cambium cells divide and specialize building each tree. Also, pitch pines have numerous epicormic buds along the trunk. Fire stimulates the buds to open, producing small branches and needles that allowed the tree to survive even if the main trunk is killed in the fire. Wow, that's super interesting. I didn't know that. And periodic fires can actually be important to the health of a forest. A fire burns the leaves, quickly returning nutrients back to the soil. The blackened surface draws in more heat, which promotes plant growth. And in 2016, the area where we're standing right now was burned intentionally to prepare for new growth. The East Quabbin Land Trust raked a 3-foot area around the burn zone, so the fire did not spread to the unwanted areas. but burning actually helped control unwanted vegetation like buckthorn, gray birch, and white pine, and also stimulates the growth of native plants like the pitch pine and the sandplane grasses. The blueberry bush sends out new shoots as well. Other evidence of the fire is visible around the rail trail. So, we're gonna have to keep our eyes out for some of the evidence of that fire, but this area, whole area where we're standing, appears to have been part of a controlled burn at one point. And as we look, I can see a little piece of wood there that looks like it was through a fire. So that might be the remnants of that. But we're gonna continue on here just to the edge of the seating area to see if we can get a good little view of the river down here. See what we can see. Oh, wow. Super calm and peaceful today. And you'll often see a lot of birds come and hunt down by the river here. I've seen eagles in this area, as well as a bunch of other hunting birds. I know herons come in here sometimes, so if you're quiet and you come here, you might be able to see some really cool birds. Let's get a little view from the seating area itself. Walk up here. And then let's keep going with our walk up and around. So from the seating area, we're just gonna continue straight up this trail here. And we are going to just be rejoining with the main path. If you look down to our right, you'll see the way that we just came in, the left that we took. And now that we made the loop, we are going to continue right back down the way that we came to explore that first side trail that we walked by that would have been off to our left. You can see we got some oak saplings coming up off the trail here, along with some berry bushes. Make sure that we don't eat them. We're coming back up here again, where we're gonna be passing the pollinator garden that we saw on the way in. They also have some logs there that you could sit on if you needed a break. There's a lot of beautiful plants here. So much of that grapevine coming up everywhere. And now we have come back to where the first trail that we passed split off. So let's start going up this way and let's see what we can see. And you can see, not only does the terrain change a little bit, but all of the species change too. We're past the area where we saw the controlled burn was, and now we're into where a lot more different species are growing. So we're seeing a grassland area almost to our left with what appears to be a birdhouse. It looks like a kestrel house, but I'm not positive if that's what it's for. It's another larger birdhouse straight up in the middle of the field there. But off to our right, we also have more like lowland shrubs almost, where we get a lot of different sort of 6 to 10 foot tall sort of trees rather than the big tall forest trees. So you get some really interesting birds that live in this kind of area. Get some much needed shade beneath this, I believe it's an oak or a maple. I believe that was a maple actually. We do have some poison ivy here and there, so we gotta be careful. Lots of little shoots coming up out of the ground here. An even better view of that birdhouse. Some of those berry bushes that are starting to look like they're changing season, and some that are a little bit younger. Got a lot of birds flying up here, don't we? Looks like this opens up some. And if my memory serves me, we are going to come up to the water on the property. There's a little almost lake area that we got. We got some tall grasses in here, but that's totally fine. We got some birds that we scared. Quite a few, it would appear. We got a nice little seating area off to our right, as you can see. And as we come up here, we can actually get an awesome view of this bog area. Take that in. Look at all the cattails, all the lily pads. That is super picturesque. Got a lot of filtering plants over there. A lot of the plants to the edge of the water system have the job of filtering the water a little bit to make it cleaner for all of the animals that live in there. So that's why you see a lot of those tall grasses around the outside of this property. This water feature. And from this pond area, we're gonna turn right around. We are going to just briefly take a look up this secondary trail here, just to kind of see what we can see. But we won't be going too far because I believe it's just a little bit overgrown. But we'll take a quick look up here. We got a lot of dense vegetation off to our left and right now. It's really growing in thick. Got more of these berry bushes, a lot more of the grapevine. Yeah, and it looks like it does grow out a little bit up there, but this is a really dense back field. If you wanted to see a lot of birds that were maybe ground nesting, this might be a good trail for you to take. But for now, we are going to turn back around and look to head back towards the entrance where we started this little adventure. We got some more of these, oh, look at the leaves on this part of the berry plant. It's almost looks like there's a second vine wrapping around it. Very beautiful colors on that. I like that a lot. And we are going to pass the pond again to our right and take the trail just to our left. That should take us back to rejoin the main trail that we started on. And as we're walking out, we're definitely going to want to make sure that we take a good look at that birdhouse that we got in the field over here to our right. Because if there is a bird, we're definitely going to want to be able to see it. Doesn't look like anybody's home right this second, but maybe if you come here to take a walk, you'll be able to see something that lives there. Oh, I just heard a mourning dove off in the distance. Some of my favorite birds to hear in the morning, or really any time of day, is those mourning doves. Which means I'm very fortunate because you get to hear them a lot living up here in Massachusetts. I'm hearing something making a call out of that tree up to our right, but I don't really see it. Let's take a second and see if we can spot it. Oh, I don't know if you guys will be able to see it because he's really buried, but in the middle of the pocket of leaves, sort of to the center of the tree there, you can see there is a small dark bird. I think he's going to be pretty hard for the camera to pick up, and I got to look down to move around him a little bit, but he's just chilling out up there. be nice enough to make a little call to let us know that we should take a look for him. And we're just going to carefully come down this little hill right here. And we are going to rejoin up with the main trail that we started on. If you wanted to, at this point, you could make a right and continue on down past the initial loop that we took to our left, and the rail trail continues for quite a ways. But for our introductory loop today, I think we're just gonna make the walk back towards the entranceway that we came in on. Making sure to be extra observant on our way out for anything that we may have heard before but may have not been able to see. Because being able to go in and out on the same trail means that you're fortunate to be able to get two looks at everything that you want to be able to look at rather than just one. So for me, I'm making sure I'm looking at all of these tall trees that are sort of on the edges of this trail, and I'm always looking for little dark shapes that might be a bird huddled up in there. It is pretty hot today though, so there is a good chance that most of the birds have found their shade and are hiding in it, which I must admit sounds like a pretty good idea right now. Can hear some chirping off to our left. Sounded like a peeper, one of the little frogs. Got all this grapevine growing over everything. You can really see it going this way. Wow. And you can see these beautiful pine trees. Wow, look at the size of the leaves on this grapevine. So much bigger than my hand. That's crazy. It's probably as big as my head. That is huge. We got a couple of big ones here off to our left. Got some more pine, some more maples, and even more of those dead trees that those pollinators and those birds love to perch in. Well, we had a couple of birds flying. Kind of hard to identify them from so far away though when they're flying so fast. We got a bunch more. This really cool vegetation. Look at that plant. Isn't that seed pod cool? Huh. All the like fruits and seeds gathered up into one spot. Saw something swoop in this way, but looks like you disappeared from my vision. And we see here that we come back to that first seating area where we talked about the rail trail, and directly in front of us we can see the kiosk where we started our journey, the little field off to our right here that's got all those cool trees in it. And I'm very, very glad that you were able to join me for this walk today. I had a load of fun, and I really hope that you guys did as well. I do hope that you get to come visit the East Quabbin Land Trust's Mass Central Rail Trail right here. And have a great day, guys.